Good afternoon. Pleased to be back with you for this Monday afternoon update. We're very pleased to provide you with an update each afternoon going forward. We want to remind you we make these updates available to our residents and to really everyone who wants to keep up to speed on what's happening here. Residents in all areas of living, all of our employees can see this on our Facebook page. And everyone off campus and in the community, like our friends and family members who follow along either through the blog or through YouTube videos or on our, can go to our website and get those things. So everyone can hear the same message and hopefully be on the same page and really try to communicate to everyone. I hope everyone had an opportunity for those of you in independent living and assisted living that can get out. That you got outside this weekend. It was a beautiful weekend. It was a beautiful weekend here on campus as well. And I was certainly pleased to see everybody that I did out enjoying the fresh air and taking walks out around the pond and around campus. Along that line, we want to offer some additional advice on what to do within your apartment and we want to ask you that when you're for the most part, please stay within your area and stay in your apartment when you're not outside getting some exercise and those sorts of things. Inside the building, please, to the degree you can, stay within your living area, with the exception of going to the library or the resident computer room in the lower level of the tower. If you choose to go outside, I hope you will. It's beautiful. You're free to go anywhere on campus, as long as you kind of enter and exit your building where it is you live. So if you live in the courtyard, please go back into the building on that side of campus. If you're on the tower side, please come back in on that side of campus and avoid sort of crossing campus to the degree you can. And then we would ask that you please avoid gathering in groups and follow the governor and the president's orders to social distance. It's really the best strategy is that we keep our distance from each other and we keep our groups very small, to less than 10 for sure, and even fewer is better because we're, that's just the rule for everyone. So thank you very much for that. Social distancing means staying 6 feet apart. This is hard to do, especially when you're moving about outside the camp, outside the buildings, or even inside. It's hard. That means you got to move away from people, and as they approach you, you got to kind of back up and say, let's keep our distance from each other. We certainly have heard reports of groups getting together, and that's true here on campus, and it's true in our world outside of campus. There's a lot of reports of people who are not following the social distancing rules. Some of the things we've heard relate to like multiple people sitting on a bench or too many people gathering for conversation in common areas. And we really just ask you to comply by the rules, keep your distance. It's for everyone's health and it's for the well-being of this community. We want to keep this community well. If you're gonna sit outside, and I hope you can, please keep some distance between you and others. And hopefully everyone will respect that. Also, and I heard this morning coming into the building, and I heard it yesterday when I was here, there certainly over the weekend there were a lot of people out and about around the pond and around other parts of the campus. Please, please, please be mindful of people with rollators and walkers and wheelchairs, and those that are more able should definitely yield to those that are less able to move and create distance. So if you can avoid getting close to someone, please do, and help us out, because everyone's trying really hard to follow the rules, and so please help us with that. I do want to say I'm really, and the team here is really upbeat about how things are going at Westminster Canterbury. You all have been super supportive to us and thankful, and we're very thankful to you for your help in making this new normal that we're in right now a livable situation for you and a workable situation for us. And for both of us, you residents, and for staff, this is a new reality, and there are challenges. Every day we run into new challenges, and your grace in that is really appreciated, because we're working hard to make this smooth, and there are times when it's not been so smooth, but we appreciate your grace in that. I do want to warn you, and I don't mean to be grim, but I do want to warn you that that the other senior living communities around Richmond and around Virginia are beginning to have confirmed cases and multiple cases. And as you've probably seen, there have been some deaths. These are things that concern us deeply. That could happen here, and we don't want that to happen. So we really need you to help us keep this community safe. From the beginning of this COVID pandemic here in Richmond, we've been a leader because we were the first to experience it and the first to figure out a lot of how we can both prevent infection and keep each other safe and keep this community operating at the same time. Many communities around the state of Commonwealth of Virginia and around the country are watching our experience and learning from us. We've had a very good outcome for the first couple of weeks, and so I would just ask you to continue to help us help keep you safe by complying. And like I said earlier, it's really for everyone's benefit. As you all know, if you've been paying attention along the last 2 weeks, we had a very large number of staff who were exposed to our resident who was diagnosed with COVID-19. I believe the number was 48. We had 48 staff members who were in mandatory quarantine. I'm very pleased to tell you today that all of those who were in that group of exposure have either gotten a negative test result or have been through quarantine for 14 days and are now out of quarantine having shown no symptoms. And so for that, we're incredibly grateful and thankful to them for their compliance and just incredibly grateful that no one got sick. One of those who was out for 14 days was Will Blackwell, Vice President of Health Services, and I'm really, really pleased to invite Will up here today to provide you with an update on how things are going in assisted living and in the Parsons Health Center. Will?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to be back at Westminster Canterbury. Thank you all for your thoughts and your prayers. I'm here to give you an update on assisted living and Parsons Healthcare. Our teams continue to work hard to keep everyone happy and healthy while we're under this self-quarantine. Everyone is getting the same great care that they got before COVID-19 became a part of our daily life. We are not doing communal dining in the Parsons Healthcare Center and assisted living for everyone's safety at this time. Our recreation staff is keeping residents busy by maintaining social distancing with hallway bingo, sing-alongs, and helping residents connect with family and friends via Skype and FaceTime. We encourage our friends and family members to send letters and cards to their loved ones. Everyone is receiving mail. We are required not to allow visitors except in very, very limited circumstances that are arranged on a one-on-one basis. Our assisted living residents are allowed to take walks within the hallways of their areas of living. They are also allowed to take short walks outside, but it's important to enter and exit near the area you came from. Also in the Parsons Healthcare Center, we are taking, with social distancing, our residents out on the porches. So 1 or 2 residents will be sitting on the porches and they're really enjoying the outside. We want to encourage you to take this very serious, that we're following our precautions and we need everyone else to self-quarantine in their apartments and avoid meeting in groups. This is extremely important and will continue for the foreseeable future in order for us to prevent the spread of COVID-19 on this campus. Deborah Jacobson is up next.
Good afternoon. I have lots of things to tell you this afternoon. I will pre-warn you that I'm not going to address all the questions that have come through today, and there are several questions we're still looking for the answers, but I'll try to update you as best possible today. The grocery pickup continues to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over at the lot of Azalea near the courtyard. Families are really taking advantage of that, but one thing we do need to talk about is social distancing. We ask the family members or friends to put the bags of groceries on the step of the vehicle that is parked there. The driver will be inside, and the driver will pick the groceries up from that point and place them on the vehicle. Call extension 6262 or email groceryrequest@wcrichmond.org if you'd like us to do some shopping for you. The shopping continues Monday through Friday, and the list gets longer and longer each time we have the shopping. We do ask you not to come by the transportation office or by the front desk to bring your list. Everybody should be using the telephone lines or the email address. All of our offices are closed, unfortunately, so we're trying to keep you safe by not mingling. Puzzles. Those have been a big question this week. We do have puzzles located throughout the buildings, and they're really loved by the residents that enjoy playing with them or putting them together. We have made a decision to continue with the puzzles, but we do recommend to you that once you play with the puzzle, put the puzzle together, that you wash your hands. Then the next person coming along, we ask them to do the same thing. A better idea would be to get one of the puzzles out of the cabinet that's located in the Tower Information Center, take it back to your apartment, keep it, and we're going to do the same thing as we're doing with the library books. Just keep it till we give you more information about when to return it. Car batteries. This has been the big one, the hot one. We reached out to a mechanic in the Richmond area that takes care of our vehicles, and he recommended that your car should be started about once a week for 10 to 15 minutes. This works out great for the residents that have their cars parked in the tower the tower parking lots, but it's not so great for those with the courtyard in the garages. For those in the garages, we do recommend that you drive your car outside of the garage. The question then is, how will I get out when the gate is locked? The gate is open now for you to come in and go. We ask you to just ride around the campus 10, 15 minutes, enjoy the scenery, but also watch out for the other guy. The bank, big question. We're still negotiating with that one. I will hopefully have updates for you later this week. We did look at the situation. Many of you are waiting for the bank to open to make deposits and things of that nature. We have decided that the transportation department will provide transportation to banks as long as the resident stays in the car and handles their business through the window. We will not provide transportation that requires a resident to get out or interact with others. Please call 6263 and just know that medical appointments take priority. Housekeeping services. Sherry explained the new process, and we have received a lot of phone calls from those residents who would prefer not to have the housekeeping services available in their apartment at this time. That's fine. Just call extension 6241 and work out the arrangements to get your linens and things of that nature. John talked a lot about social distancing, and I just want to reemphasize it as well. There are a lot of residents that are walking around outside, having a great time, but we also do discourage getting together in clusters of folks. We want you to enjoy the outside, but also when you're inside, if you stay within your area, it would just be safer for everyone. There are those times when you need to go to the other areas, and certainly we understand that. I do have to tell you that some of your fellow residents don't like that very much, and I don't think that the complaints that I'm receiving are really being done in a vicious way, but just trying to be safe. One other, in my last topic here, has to do with those residents that before all of this got started, went out to their second homes and some of them plan to stay there indefinitely. A couple of them have decided they would like to return, as some other residents have in the last week. Just want to let you know that they will be screened, and then they will have a 14-day quarantine in their apartments or their homes. Again, just trying to keep you all safe and healthy. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have more questions answered for you. Take care. And the next up is Lynn.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lynn McClintock, Director of Pastoral Care. I have a poem for you today. It's called The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Let us pray. Gracious God, in this time of turbulence and unknowing, we admit that we are disoriented and unsure. Those things that grounded us, our routines, eating the way we used to, socializing the way we used to, exercising the way we used to, taking a drive the way we used to, working the way we used to, have all changed in the blink of an eye. And for many of us, we are learning the hard way that throwing our whole being into the next unpredictable wave of news puts us in a reactive cycle that will only leave us exhausted and feeling powerless. Help us, loving Lord, that when the despair rises within us, to not forget that there are birds on our ellipse right now. There are children playing in their backyards right now. There are flowers opening to the sun right now. When the despair rises within us, keep our minds on the beautiful natural order that you have created. Remind us, dear Lord, to look outside at the sun, look at the wind moving through the trees. Keep our hearts resting in your goodness and grace that is more perfect and longer lasting than viruses and earthly chaos, even beyond our own earthly lives. Help us rest, O Lord, in the grace of the world and in the peace of your love, so that we may be free. Amen. Please join us tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock for our next update.